Welcome back to Sacred and Sound, a podcast for the spiritually curious. I'm your host, Sydney Jane, and thank you so much for joining me back after a little hiatus because I took some time to finish something very near and dear to my heart, my first album called Water on Mars. Since I recently finished this huge creative project today, I want to talk about spirituality as it relates to expression and creativity, and a little bit about the personal journey towards creating more authentic art. And I am so grateful and excited to have all the way from London today's guest, multi-instrumentalist, musician, and producer of my album, Ray Alex.
Thank you. All the way from London. Yeah, it's great to be back.
Yeah,
I love it
so
here.
happy to have you here. This is his first time on the podcast, but he's been here a few times to Germany, to my studio, which is where we're filming. This is also my music studio where I recorded my album, where Ray Alex produced some of the songs. So we have a very special memory in here anyway, and we're so excited to be talking to you guys. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling?
Relaxed.
Good.
So relaxed. It's nice to get out of London. You know, I can hear the birds chirping away outside. The sun's out as well.
It's pretty idyllic here
can't go
today.
wrong.
Yeah, it's lovely. So we just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about this journey of creating this album together. We gave ourselves very limited time to complete this album. So I think when you do anything like that, especially when you're doing art, it makes you a lot more introspective, makes you question maybe some ideas you had about yourself and push yourself even further. So I certainly learned a lot about myself through this process. And I definitely dove deeper into my spiritual side just to write these songs. My album is about my own personal spiritual journey, the journey of getting to know myself, the journey of feeling more connected to the world and all of the pain and the joy and the love that that brings. So one question I like to start off asking my guests is about their journey of their own spirituality, their background, and what they believe now. So do you mind, telling a little bit about your experience with spirituality to our guests?
Of course. I was at church when I was younger. My mum was very religious, took us to church. My dad, not so much. I've always believed there was a God. Never understood the Bible. I never understood the stories, really. I was too young, and I went to Sunday school, and it kind of felt like I was just getting all this information that I couldn't quite understand. And then my dad became very religious. My dad then became a reader, a licensed minister in the church, a lay minister. That was really interesting to see someone who was atheist suddenly just become very, very spiritual within a very short amount of time.
Do you mind if I interrupt and ask,
No.
do you know, have you ever talked to him about what caused that change?
He felt called.
Really?
He felt a calling that he couldn't quite understand. He went to a course called Alpha Course, which is like a Christian course in the UK if people are interested about Christianity, becoming a Christian, the steps. He went on one of those courses.
Wow.
And he just felt called. And that's the main reason, I think. And for me, I think during my teenage years, disconnected from it completely. I was still going to church with my family, but more so my dad. But it kind of felt like something I had to do. And I didn't really understand why I was there. I didn't feel like part of the community at all. And then throughout all of my 20s, completely disconnected. I'm 31 now. But yeah, from like 20 to 29, I was almost atheist. So yeah, and then more recently in the last 2 years I've become close with God again, which has been really nice, a nice revival again. I pray a lot. I feel very calm. And one thing I want to talk to you about is that kind of sense of the feeling, your gut feeling. I don't want it to sound cliche, but when you have a feeling in your gut and going with it as well. And I feel like sometimes we get signs and messages and energy from God that we can't ignore those signs. And even if you do, you're gonna keep getting those signs until you just need to basically stop making decisions and let yourself put your life in God's hands, which is what I feel like I've been doing and have done.
So what caused that change a couple years ago? Because you said that from most of your 20s, you were disconnected from your belief, from the church. And I want to be clear to our listeners, this is not a podcast about any one religion or any one belief. We're here exploring together. I love asking people about their perspective and their journeys. You said that towards the end of your 20s, your belief got more important to you. You started praying. You felt at peace. Like, what caused that? What caused that change? Just
a terrible event where I reached an incredibly low point in my life, the lowest point of my life. I had to make very quick decisions on how I was going to change my lifestyle. For example, sobriety, not becoming kind of involved with anybody romantically for a while as well. Like really, really try and clean up my act significantly, you know, all the way down to health, nutrition.
Yes.
Everything. It just so happened that during that very low point, I managed to get some really incredible information from a cardiologist and also a nutritionist.
Wow.
And a physiotherapist who gave me some incredible information about fasting and how it can help mental health. And I could never see the link between the two. I never understood how is that so? You know, how can you fast and how is that going to improve your mental health? Even just having like 1 or 2 meals a day, for example. And what I realized was within a month or two of completely changing my lifestyle, what I'm eating, not eating processed food, sugar. It sounds like I'm going on a health rant right now, but
no, I fully want to go into this.
it really has reset everything for me. I don't really experience anxiety anymore. I was plagued with anxiety throughout most of my 20s, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I felt disconnected from God.
Yeah.
And I feel like my mental health was so bad throughout most of my 20s, my like OCD anxiety, that I forgot that I even was Christian. So this is why I'm bringing it up. I'm not just going on a random tangent about health.
Of course,
it's to do with, as soon as I reset everything and started consuming better food, looking after my health more, exercising, sleeping better, I just felt like really tranquil.
Yeah.
For the first time in my adulthood, got to 30, 31, I'm 31 now, as I've said, and I finally feel peace and calm for the first time.
Well, I am so happy for you.
A lot of that is to do with just those very, very simple changes, you know, bringing down my cortisol levels, my stress levels. A lot of people in the UK don't even know what cortisol is, you know, the stress hormone, or, you know, a lot of people, unfortunately, we don't get taught these things in school.
Can you tell us a little bit about cortisol?
You know, it can present itself in symptoms of, like, you know, for example, my hair was falling out because of the stress.
Wow.
Constantly sweating all the time, getting myself in like nervous flushes, struggling to sleep, hearing voices in my head, you know, like having this inner speaker in my head that was dominating all these decisions. But it was almost like a godlike voice, but it wasn't God. I mean, everyone's different. Everyone will tell you different symptoms they have of like very high cortisol, but you know, it's awful how stress can present itself physically in your body. It's terrible.
And you're saying that your like physical, like the way that you eat and also like with fasting and your physical changes affected your cortisol level, right?
I feel like everything just dropped, like inflammation in my body, stress. I just feel completely calm, and it's why I do it. I don't do it to lose weight or be in shape. These things are important for me. It's the clarity. It's the I get to wake up each day and it's like I'm on antidepressants without taking any medication. I'm just doing everything like naturally, holistically.
It's been really inspiring, even for me, just the physical health aspect of it, because I think like when I listen to people talk about spirituality, it is an inner journey. So it's really easy to forget that like our bodies are our vessels. It's really important. It's so great to hear that it's about that clarity for you. It's not about being rigid. It's not about, you know, losing weight or being, you know, having a perfect body. It's really just about the mental gain from it. Yeah. And I would love to hear how that clarity has influenced like what you said that you wanted to talk about was like gut feelings, right? And instincts. And do you feel that your physical health and, you know, learning about fasting and implementing that in your life and not processed foods and all of those things, has that impacted your ability to listen to your gut or differentiate between that positive inner voice or maybe that one that you had before?
A lot of the time, not listening to anything up here. That's what I've been trying to do.
Okay.
So, for example, if a decision doesn't feel right creatively or just a general life decision, is just stick with the feeling in my stomach, really.
Ooh, yes.
You know, if you get that kind of like roller coaster anxiety feeling, you know, when you go down a massive drop, something's not right, and you can keep putting it off, but then you waste time, and I've wasted so many years of my life doing that.
Yeah.
Not listening to my body, listening to the noise and the volume up here.
Yes.
So, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I'm not, haven't mastered it yet, but it's just about recognizing the volume up here and knowing when is the right time to watch your thoughts.
So when you say watch your thoughts, what do you mean by that?
Recognize that it's just your thoughts, and actually they don't define you and they're not real. So a lot of what you hear up here isn't real. It's just your thoughts. It's just, you know, brain chatter, isn't it? Right. So it's about trying to ignore that. But I can easily get caught up in like a day or two of that on a cycle and then realize, okay, I listen to my body. My chest feels tight. My sleep is affected. Something's just not right. So now I listen to my body and I can stop the chatter. Whereas before it was like an endless cycle because of the cortisol, the constant stress on my body, that it was just one, wasn't it? It was just one. But now I see them as two separate things, really, you know. So I'm able to listen to my body. I know when I need to calm myself down and take care of my mental health is when I get those physical symptoms in my body. But unfortunately, a lot of people, they let those symptoms just continue.
They're used to them, right?
Yeah,
like
you end up living with them.
Yeah, they don't know like what it feels like to live without them.
You know,
like
right? People have like IBS, for example. There's I'm not going into tons of conditions, but like that's another example as well. It's like the constant like kind of upset stomach because of the stress, but people just live with that because they think that's part of who they are. And actually, you got to try and take a hold on your mental health as well, and your physical health. They're so interlinked, and people still don't know the correlation between what you put in your stomach and how that affects your mental health too.
Right.
We know about drugs, alcohol, but actually what you're putting into your stomach has a big effect on your brain fog, for example, your clarity. Yeah.
So you said like after just like a month or two of not, what did you do? You said you stopped eating processed foods and
pretty much overnight.
Okay.
So I was pretty much vegetarian and vegan for 4 years. And then pretty much overnight, I decided I needed to make a big change. So I went back on meat and fish the next day and started fasting the next day, went sober the next day. I did everything completely overnight. Because like I have OCD, I experience intense OCD. So it works really well for me. I almost like enjoy those challenges of like, okay. So that's what happened. And I felt like, within weeks, just felt a lot calmer. You know, a lot of like kind of, as I said, stress symptoms, my body had kind of dissolved or went away, and I just felt clearer.
And how did that clarity, like, let's go back to like your spiritual journey.
Yeah.
How did that, like, what about that clarity led you back to your Christianity, your beliefs? Because you could just, I guess you could just experience that clarity and then just be like that. But what about that made you go deeper into spirituality?
Because I realized when I was doing all of that there's something much bigger than me. My whole life I've been quite self-absorbed, quite obnoxious at times, and actually realized that when I was doing all these things and my body was healing, it was like, well, surely I've been created. Surely this is, you know, the human body is amazing.
It's incredible.
It is incredible how we're able to heal ourselves, and, you know, not just emotionally, but physically heal ourselves. And when I say physically, it's through like autophagy when you do fasting as well. So it's like when you do like a day or two of fasting, your stem cell becomes renewed. Your body's doing like a cleanup of itself, essentially. And I felt like that was where I realized this, I'm actually just a vessel. I'm just like not important, and there's something massively important and something bigger, way bigger than me. I kind of always knew that, but because of like societal distractions, you know, just the way that life is, you forget these things.
For those of you that don't know, this is an album that we've been working on all of the music together for about 2 years, but the bulk of it we actually did in about like less than 6 months together. So coming off the back of that, I'm sure you have a lot, like a wealth of experience that you just had over the last year. What has been the biggest factor that sort of created a positive difference in your creative output?
I think just recognizing that I'm not in control of the future or anything to do with the future. I can only do what I can each day, just showing up for myself in the present, right? So that's taken an enormous amount of stress and strain off my kind of two-dimensional thinking. Oh, I need to have made this many albums by this age. I need to have collaborated with this many artists or be at this point. And all of that, again, is just rubbish, and it's actually counterproductive. So it's helped me enormously to just enjoy creating again, and not create for anybody, but just create for myself, and just enjoy the feeling it gives me to just start a song. And it doesn't matter if it works out or doesn't. I'm just doing it. I'm just showing up for myself. The same way people go to the gym, or the same way people look after themselves, go shopping, or I don't know, like do their hair. It's the same thing, and really enjoying the process of writing again, without there being like this, oh, well, you know, this is going to have to align with all these kind of like goalposts that I was putting up for myself, right? Because it's strange, because for somebody like myself who has avoided societal timestamps up until now, haven't got a mortgage, no children, why am I putting all these goalposts and borders up for myself?
Right. When you're not like so I don't want to say normal person, but you haven't up until this point, really, when you think about it. So why are you still trying to do that? So why
is it self-inflicted then?
Yeah.
That's what I've come to realize. Actually, this creative thing, this ability that I have to make songs, write songs, is a gift. I see it as a gift, and it doesn't matter. I can, if I decided to never do it again, it's strange because I can never run away from it. It's part of my DNA. It's part of who I am, and I'll always be a musical person. Yeah. So even if I decided never to do it again, I feel like I'd be in denial.
Exactly. Like you wouldn't be fully yourself.
Yeah, I think so.
I can definitely relate to you on that for sure.
Okay, so to answer your question fully, like, I guess just being very calm, being in like more of a meditative state before I start making music as well.
And like a trusting. So that essentially is trusting, like when because you're saying letting go of expectations, letting go of control, right? Like the need to have this and this and this, like you're not setting any expectations for yourself. And letting go of that control in itself is like a very trusting act. I can only speak from the perspective of writing music. That is my creative expression, but it is like a very trusting, when you're in the flow, like you are in a trust love state, like you are in an elevated place, you are just letting go and you're surrendering, and that like kind of bringing that into your waking life when you're not creating or when you're gearing up to create is very beautiful. And I feel like that's like something music has taught me to do in my everyday life. What do you want to share with people when it comes to intuition and listening to yourself?
I would say, as well as just being a music producer, I work with young people as well, sort of ages 16 to 19, 20. A lot of young people in London experience depression, OCD, anxiety. And so what I often tell them, because I'm mental health first aid trained as well, so I give a lot of advice to young people too. I would say that the same avenue or the same kind of vessel that all the negativity comes from is the same vessel that all your imagination and music and magic comes from. So if you can keep that clear or channel it, even if you do feel depressed, anxious, it's like having a way to use it, unlock it. So if it's writing a song, if it's painting, if it's making a film, even just talking to people or just doing something creative with it, you can flip it.
And what you said about the vessel, like the same vessel that brings you all that, that stress and mental health issues is the same vessel that brings you the creativity and the art. That is, I believe, like the alchemy of a human being. Like we are able to turn every negative into a positive. I truly believe that in my whole heart. And I think that's why nobody can ever tell me that like we as society can't get through this moment, that we can't grow, that that everything sort of on the outside world, from my perspective, seems to be at a boiling point in so many different ways. But I see that as the greatest opportunity maybe we've ever had. That spark of, oh, we have my cat here, Kanuchi. That spark of hope is that thing that gets you, that makes you make those overnight decisions that you made. You know, that hope that you can do it, like that it's possible.
I tell a lot of the students that I work with, it's like, if it makes you feel happy and it's a creative, artistic expression, just do as much of it as you can. Doesn't matter about if you're weird and you sort of like, you lock yourself away for a day just to focus on your art. Do it. If it makes you happy, do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Amen to that. I feel that maybe more adults need to hear that too. You know, it's amazing when you hear it from a teacher, but I think there's something that happens in your mind when you become an adult where you get so rigid in the ways that you have existed that it feels almost impossible to even imagine, you know, taking on a new creative endeavor or act or whatever. Like, I'm 33 and I just finished my first album. If you would have told me that when I was 20, I would have been like, no, that's too old. Like, people can't be that old when they do their first, you know?
Yeah.
And even though I don't feel that way at all now, I don't see it that way at all. But what would you maybe say to people who are around our age, you know, in their late 20s, early 30s, who have an idea and have a spark and feel a bit nervous about it?
It's about being more than just a singer or musician. I feel like if I was just to be a producer, it would be very two-dimensional. I'm not interested in just being a producer, a musician. You know, it's about finding happiness, having a hunger to learn as well. If it's learning languages, if it's learning a new skill, it's just continuously upskilling yourself because it just keeps your brain fresh. It keeps you alert, keeps you motivated and inspired. I feel like if you just stick and stay as one thing, well, for me anyway, it can feel very two-dimensional.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's important to just be happy, be content, and be, even if it's just like you wake up and go for a walk or do something very simple, doesn't matter. Just to enjoy it, really.
Yeah.
The sun comes out, just enjoy it. You know, I live
Especially
in
if you live in
London
London.
where it's like, it feels like it's cloudy for like, 8 months of the year or something?
Yeah.
That might be an exaggeration, but yeah, just be content with very simple things.
Yeah.
And this kind of idea of success I had when I was 16, and it's, you know, most people will say that it was to be rich, it was to have loads of cars, have mansions, you know, that's sort of programmed into us, unfortunately. I don't know if do you feel that with our generation as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Like materialistic things?
Yeah, very, very materialistic, but also sort of a never-ending goalpost of what rich, what wealthy, what all that is.
Validation, admiration,
yes,
all of these things.
Without an actual understanding that if you're watching this, you know, and us being here in the context of the rest of the world, we are rich and wealthy.
Yeah.
You know, so like that, the understanding isn't even there. And then we have this moving, non-existent, you know, goal of that material success. And absolutely, it distorts our reality to a point where it's hard to sort of come back from that and gain an understanding of what real, true success is. How would you define
success?
Yeah.
To be able to help someone in need. Whether it's like a music, it could be me talking to somebody. I see that as success. Like if I've inspired somebody, if I've, like, for example, I teach students how to make music for films, adverts. If I can start or just put a little seed there and that flourishes, I feel really happy. I feel like I've done my bit.
Thank you so much for sharing all of your thoughts. We are going to end here, but we are going to come back for part 2 with Ray Alex. So thank you all so much for joining. Don't forget to check the episode description for some resources that I will share with you from Ray Alex. And I'm so grateful to anybody who listens to the podcast, who listens to the music. I hope that you guys have been able to take away something positive, and we'll see you soon for part 2.